This program is brought to you by Colgate. Brush twice a day for strong, healthy teeth.
Good evening, welcome to Simpson at 8. A very warm welcome to the first show of our 2020 season and a happy new year to you all. Tonight we have a two-part show. In the first segment I will be speaking with the Minister for Health, Dr. Ifereimi Waqainabete, and in segment 2 and 3 join me for an interview I did earlier this week with Fiji Rugby Union Chairman Francis Kean. But first, health ministries around the world have scrambled to put in place necessary measures to guard against the rapidly spreading coronavirus, which has origins from Wuhan province in China. Our health ministry has put measures in place, and earlier this week, the health minister and senior health officials addressed the media in a press conference about the precautions they have taken. I spoke to the minister after the press conference about what they are doing and the lessons learned from their handling of the recent measles outbreak. Here is part of that interview. You've given a press conference this week on the coronavirus and sounded relatively calm compared to the alarm that many are seeing around. Why are you calm? Are you confident in our ability to handle this, this global crisis, as some would like to call it?
Yes, then you have to be calm. As the captain of the ship, in whatever storm that you face, you have to be calm so that you can be able to make the right decision about what you want to do.
Should the public be calm?
Yeah, and I encourage the public to be calm. Because at the moment as we speak, we know there's no person with coronavirus in Fiji. If it does change, we will let the public know.
All right, so that's just to clarify. The people that have been mentioned who have been in quarantine, or the people who are sent back from Samoa, the 6 and the 4 from Wuhan province, those are just precautionary measures.
They're all precautionary measures.
Right.
And, at the moment we are watching them. The 4 from Wuhan province that arrived last week, it's a precautionary measure. As alluded to in the conference, one of them had a headache, and a headache is not one of the constant symptoms that we are seeing from this coronavirus. But we are very precautionary in making sure that we quarantine them. And that's what we've done with the measles. In some ways we've overreacted in quarantining, but it's better to be safe than sorry in many ways. What Dr. Alicia had alluded to is that we have multiple layers. So not only in terms of the border, because we know that even some countries with very good border restrictions and border control, they still have a coronavirus.
Right.
But then what's the next layer? So the next layer is identifying those patients, and we have a very strong identification mechanism in place with our early warning syndromic symptoms that are in place. So once we pick it up, then what do we do? The treatment, the quarantining, keeping them away from other people so it doesn't get infected. So those are all the layers that are in place. And all those layers we use with the measles.
So right now we still got the first layer covered.
Still got the first layer covered, but all the other...
Because it's still out of the country, it hasn't come in.
Yeah, but all the other layers are in place. We also have to practice personal hygiene. That's something that we all have to do. We also have to make sure that our facilities are on par. We've had our health workers advisory issued last week so that our health workers know what to look out for. What are they going to do if we are going to face it? We've already mapped out our contingency plans. What facilities are we going to use? And we are liaising very commonly on a daily or twice daily basis with our partners such as WHO. We're also watching the space with other countries. So for example, America is the Centers for Disease Control. China has this. We have a Center for Disease Control that's based out of Tamobo that Dr. Alicia heads. So all those other areas too, we are watching and we're looking at them. And
at the moment, it's not yet determined a global emergency by the WHO.
Well, at the moment they haven't.
They haven't, yeah.
But every country in the world is putting their strategies in place.
Right. You talked about, basically the lessons that you brought from the measles, how the Ministry of Health handled the measles outbreak, yeah? And the 2 points stuck out right before we go into the thing about, and some will say, oh no, but this is different. Some are saying measles had the vaccine. The coronavirus, there's no vaccine for it yet. So that's perhaps one would say is one difference. The other one is measles was more, one would say, an internal one. Well, this one is dealing more with the threat coming in from outside. Would that be correct?
Measles is a global epidemic. It's a global problem, global outbreak. Congo had about 5,000 people that died from measles, much more than we have from the coronavirus so far. Other countries around the world, in the Pacific, we know what the numbers are. Obviously, we don't have the vaccine for this, but the other layered strategies is what we will use, minus the vaccine.
So you're confident that we have enough layers without, being to reach that stage?
Yeah. We have enough layers, and then what we're doing is actually will be exactly the same as what Australia would be doing now.
Let's talk about the measles outbreak. How would you rate your ministry's performance?
We did relatively quite well. I think the ministry has shown that we have resilience in being able to tackle something that's outside of our normal function. So we got our normal functions. With the measles outbreak, then we had the 2 cyclones, now we got the coronavirus. So we got our normative functions, then we got our extra normative functions. With the measles outbreak, is with the support of the Honourable Prime Minister and Cabinet, we're able to ensure that we know that we haven't taken resources, a lot of it from our normative function, to be able to deal with this, and also with the cyclones. So we've had people go to Kandavu, now people up in the north, doing post-cyclone assessment, source reduction, because apart from coronavirus, we also have to make sure that we don't get dengue, lepto, typhoid,
which can come up from these events. Quite a big number of people in that 1 month, I think from between, or month and a half, 6 weeks, 7th November to 26th December, 328,000 people. That's were immunized, which is quite a feat.
Yeah, so
but the question will be, could things have been done better?
Yeah, I mean, there's always things that we could have done better. I think we were proactive. I think we're asking ourselves the question, could we be more proactive? And it's about reaching the right balance.
But there were some hiccups. There was a shortage of vaccines for the measles at some stage.
Yeah, so
like people were going to the health center and were told, oh, there's none, you have to wait. It's waiting for the next batch to arrive. Yeah. So what happened there?
Initially, I mean, we had 100,000 vaccines in place. Once the outbreak came, we opened it up and we started vaccinating. We began to drop. We made orders. The orders were a little bit prolonged in coming. Once they hit the ground, we managed to get on with it. In total, we had about more than 600,000 vaccines that we brought into the country. Also, in total, we've vaccinated more than 500,000 people. Again, there's about 380,000 in the group that we are trying to attack. We've done about over 350,000. So you can imagine the other numbers that make up more than 500,000 are actually those who are outside of the target group. And those, they have received the vaccine irrespective because they've had other reasons and we've done it.
Could it have been done better when you were having the stock coming in much quicker, or you think that was adequately done?
At that time, you also have to remember at that time everybody was purchasing the vaccines. So really at the end of the day, we were purchasing out of Copenhagen, Denmark, with a UNICEF warehouse in Denmark. And that's where we were looking towards. Unfortunately, we were thinking they will come, 5 days earlier, and they came 5 days later, and because of that we had to wait a little bit. But I think at the end of the day, the overall, what happened with it was in our favor.
So it was a success.
No children so far has died, touch wood, and I think, it's a testament to the resilience, but also to the fact that, and as I keep on saying, we've got this brain trust within the Ministry of Health, not only in terms of the operational part, but also setting the strategic policies and plans in place.
So another issue is, with these emergencies, including the coronavirus, is about information and accurate information getting out. Because there was some confusion about who actually goes and gets vaccinated. And then people are turning up to be told, no, this is priority, is 19 to 39 years old and all that. So is there an area you're looking to improve? I mean, could you have come out even faster on this, on the coronavirus? In getting the information out to the people, and because now social media is beating you to the shot.
With the coronavirus, I mean, we've had releases. We've sent out one advisory. We've also had an FAQ that we sent out. Apart from that, internally, we've had our health workers advisory. We understand that we need to really hit social media big time. And so that's one space that we really want to continue to improve on. I think the media releases, the advices that we have, I think they're well structured, very strong, very good information, because the Permanent Secretary actually looks through it with a fine-tooth comb before she sends it over for me to actually sign on. I think the area that we both, the Permanent Secretary and I, agree on that we need to improve on is how we utilize both the mainstream media and also social media to our cause, and that's something we will have to improve on this year. And we put it on our list that we're going to try and continue, look at blasting all forms of social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, so to get our messages across.
Staying calm in the hot seat. Dr. Waqainabete, thank you for joining us. The Health Minister there, urging the public to remain calm and saying they have the necessary precautions in place. After the break, we speak to FRU Chairman Francis Kean.
This program is brought to you by Colgate. Brush twice a day for strong, healthy teeth.
I'm gonna meet Dad.
Continue to watch movies on the big screen with Colgate Monday Movies. Simply buy one movie ticket and present it together with one empty pack of any Colgate Total toothpaste or a Colgate 360 toothbrush and get another movie ticket free. Now showing in Damodar cinemas near you. Promotion begins 15th January and ends 15th November. Conditions apply. Check in-store posters for more details.
This program is brought to you by Colgate. Brush twice a day for strong, healthy teeth.
Welcome back. It was a news Fijian rugby fans had been anxiously awaiting. The announcement of the Flying Fijians head coach by FRU Chairman Francis Kean and CEO John O'Connor. New Zealander Vern Cotter, who is the current head coach of French top 14 side Montpellier and former national coach of Scotland, was appointed to the position. I spoke to Chairman Francis Kean immediately after the announcement. Chairman of the Fiji Rugby Union, Francis Kean, you've just made a big announcement, probably the biggest announcement everyone in sports in Fiji has been waiting for. The coach of the Flying Fijians. To start off, I'd like to go back to the World Cup, where we had expected to do well. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. What was the thinking within you and the board when we didn't achieve what we planned to achieve in the World Cup?
A good majority of us Fijians who all support rugby were disappointed with the performance of our Flying Fijians at the Rugby World Cup. Fortunately enough, making life easier for us was the expiration of John McKee's contract. John's done a wonderful job for us, something that we wish not to take away from the years that he served with Fiji Rugby. He's given us some good wins, but at the conclusion of the Rugby World Cup, the board with management actually sat down and reviewed his report and discussed in length as to where we want to go and where we want to take Fiji Rugby. And as you seen, one of the things we wanted to look at was a coach that was a strict disciplinarian, a hard-nosed coach. We see that a lot in our New Zealand coaches, and that was an area that we tried to address, and also the technical expertise that a future coach would bring to Fiji to nurture our local coaches that would one day take over the reins as our Flying Fijian head coach come the World Cup after 2023.
So when you put out the advertisement, did you also headhunt? Do you have some people in mind that you wanted to, or is it like throw it out and let's see what
Yes, we actually, during the World Cup, John and I, CEO, were very fortunate to be up in attendance at the Rugby World Cup in Japan. We talked to a few coaches up in Japan. Eddie Jones, at one time expressed his interest to coach the Fiji teams. I met him in England just last week, and he asked me, "Have you got a coach yet?" And I jokingly told him, "We're waiting for you to be free so you can come and coach us." But yes, we've searched high and low, but at the end of the day, in order for us to secure funding from World Rugby, the good governance issue has to be followed. For us to follow in the process, advertising, do the interview, and then make an announcement with the budget last week.
Was there a budget limit you had that you had to, or were you just saying, let's see what we get and see how we can find the money?
Yes, we set ourselves a budget and we work towards it to see how best we can achieve it. And then also we've talked to World Rugby. World Rugby wants us to be the best to be competitive in playing against tier 1 rugby nations. Hence the pathway we took in recruiting Vern, and as I mentioned during the conference, we're very fortunate to secure the services of someone of Vern's caliber.
All right, there was some other people of quite high caliber that you've mentioned. Sorry, there were 6 shortlisted, right?
Yes.
Who were the 6?
Dean Richards, a former English number 8 who's currently coaching director up at Newcastle. Olivier Magne, who was coach of the French under 21. And Frank Azima, also coaches in the top 14 up in France. Simon Rewalui, Fijian, who assistant coach with the Wallabies in the last World Cup, and Seni Rusi. And also, we also turned down Daryl Gibson, the former coach for Waratahs and assistant coach to the Crusaders.
What gave Vern Cotter the nod? What was the advantage that he had over the others? Those are some really pretty interesting names that some people would probably support. But what gave Vern the nod for the Fiji Rugby Union?
I think his credentials speak volume of the expertise that he has under his belt and what he can bring to the table in relation to furthering rugby in the country. We want to get back to number 8 in the world. Currently we ranked at number 11. In the future for Fiji Rugby, in the corridors of power at World Rugby, and also with Senza, they want to see Japan and Fiji playing in the Four Nations Championship. So in order for us to get into the championship, we got to make an investment in recruiting the best, and we believe Vern was the best. We believe he is a hard-nosed coach, something that I believe will work well for us Fijian rugby players. As Fijian rugby players, sometimes we want to cut corners, and having a coach like Vern, I think will bring about a lot of semblance of discipline and dedication and commitment, and restoring back some pride to our Flying Fijians' performance.
Obviously, strict discipline you've quite mentioned, and yellow cards are a big issue for the Fiji team in all as both the 15s and the 7s. Now, was it his record in Scotland, in Montpellier, or what was it? If I can break it down, something specific that really struck you. You did the interview, didn't you? What was it that really got it for you?
Okay, how he came out with his plans, his vision for Fiji Rugby, should he be offered the position, that came out very clearly, well articulated, and you can ask Australians why did they recruit a Kiwi to become their national coach. It's the same for us Fiji. To become the best and to beat the best in the world, we also need to recruit the best to become our coach.
This program is brought to you by Colgate. Brush twice a day for strong, healthy teeth.
I'm gonna meet Dad.
Continue to watch movies on the big screen with Colgate Monday Movies. Simply buy one movie ticket and present it together with one empty pack of any Colgate Total toothpaste or a Colgate 360 toothbrush and get another movie ticket free. Now showing in Damodar cinemas near you. Promotion begins 15th January and ends 15th November. Conditions apply. Check in-store posters for more details.
This program is brought to you by Colgate. Brush twice a day for strong, healthy teeth.
Welcome back to Simpson at 8. Continuing our interview with FRU Chairman Francis Kean, I asked the Chairman if World Rugby was doing enough to support Fiji Rugby and the development of rugby in the Pacific. From the FRU's point of view, you think they are doing enough to support Fiji Rugby Union and other Pacific Island countries?
Chairman Sir Bill Biman and his team up at World Rugby has been doing a marvelous job. They tried very hard to get the World Nations Rugby Championship off the ground. As you're well aware, it fell short because of 3 home unions not agreeing to some of the provisions of the competition. For Fiji, that competition was going to be a game breaker, a game changer for Fiji Rugby because of the commercial terms that would support Fiji Rugby and our players, but sadly it did not happen. I've just returned from England last week where there's discussions on reviving it at a tier 2 level. What will come out of that, we leave that to the superiors up at World Rugby, but in a nutshell, I think Sir Bill Biman, as chairman, has tried earnestly and hard and has worked diligently to bring about some positive changes in the way rugby in the country, in the world is played.
So let's have faith in them.
Exactly.
One other good aspect that's been coming on, that's been talked about, that's become very strong last 3 years, is the development programs that's been coming through with the high performance unit, and you're about to announce shortly your high performance manager. So how is that going along, and what do you say about the support that's you're being given on that? More importantly, how do we keep the boys that we come up through those programs before they're taken by overseas clubs and obviously by other countries on our investment?
One of the things when this board came into operation way back in 2015 was to ensure that we establish ourselves here at Rugby House, to establish our domestic competitions and to come and become a world leader in rugby. That's the vision of Fiji Rugby Union. I think we've achieved that in many ways, apart from falling short at the Rugby World Cup. The pathways that we've created, with the envy of many rugby playing nations around the world today. Even New Zealand doesn't have this, and I believe Australia too. We relooked at our constitution. No, I'll get to that. We relooked at our constitution, accepted by World Rugby, which they finally gave us a seat in the World Rugby Council seat, because constitution has to be right, good governance has to be perfect, and that's what we practiced, Getting the constitution right by getting secondary schools rugby and primary schools rugby aligned after FRU wasn't an easy task. We can ask the school teachers this. It was good negotiations, hard negotiations, truthful negotiations to ensure that we had that alignment. Coming down to provincial rugby and also right down to grassroots rugby. I'm very thankful to our lead pathway program manager, Mr. Bill Nandolo, a fellow schoolmate of yours from Suva Grammar. He's doing a wonderful job. I believe he'll need assistance, and also Koli Sewang as our development manager. Doing a wonderful job in this area of identifying talents and putting them through the academy, through the high performance systems, so that it just makes the selection process a lot much more easier for our national coaches. You talked about losing our players abroad. Stanley, I keep telling our coaches, you lose one today, it's your job to also bring out another pearl in one of our Fiji rugby players. The many rugby players we can send abroad, we'll send abroad, because we know what it does to our economy. But ideally, long term, medium to long term, we want to have our players playing in a competition that is closer to home.
Right.
We've talked with New Zealand Rugby about the provisions that they have in their Super Rugby contract. We've talked to Australia.
So you're saying is embrace the way it's going on at the moment, because it's too hard to fight. It's difficult to oppose.
When you say too hard to fight
like
against what?
The process of players going abroad, and the scouting by the players to take them across, because players obviously want better opportunities and better pay for their careers and things.
Exactly.
So you're saying it might as well work with the system rather than try and fight it.
Exactly. Ideally, that's what we want. We can't hold on to our players here because we don't have the finances to offer them what the clubs in Europe and also in the UK are offering our rugby players. It's a lifetime opportunity for them. But all we're doing is we're thankful that that they can always put their hand up to come and represent Fiji. We have a system in place that sees those that come in through our pathway system, whether they represent the under-20s and the Warriors or play for our sevens team. We try and look at a pathway that we can capture these players so that they are available to Fiji and no other country.
For the national team. And the experience of Frank Lomani shows there is value in hanging on, getting capped and increasing the value. Is that something you're trying to create awareness about saying staying on with the capping through the Fiji system is also a good process or path to take, as Frank has done?
Yes, Frank's been a great player. He's a wonderful investment that has come through the system, the pathway system in Fiji. So too Ifereimi Waqainabete and a few other players under 20s that made it over to the Rugby World Cup this year in Japan. They've all, I think, 5 of them have secured contracts and currently playing well, playing for clubs abroad. And this is a reflection of the pathway system that's working for us in Fiji. We believe that it's working for us. There's a few areas that we need to tweak here and there, but overall I think it's working well for us. And one of the things that we've tried to do, as you might be aware of, Stan, is our rugby players in the Pacific, they perform at our national level when they reach 30, past their 30. What we're trying to do is the gist of this high performance program is to get our players engaged in the early 20s, playing for their national team, just like what New Zealand is currently doing.
So that's what's been happening with some of the people moving into the Warriors and the Latui squads. Eh?
Yeah. We need to expose them to high intensity rugby
early on.
Yeah.
Now, final question. Talking about, there was Senerusi and there's a lot of talk about local coaches and development of coaches. You've put specifically one of Vern's Cotter's job description is to develop local coaches. Are we then should be seeing in the future, as part of the board's plan, is in the process that the next coach or in the near future will be a local coach developed like the players that you've been talking about?
The vision of this board is to have a lot of our former national reps take up positions with within Fiji Rugby Union. Way back in 17, I believe, when before we played Scotland, John and I, CEO, we sat down with a squad of players that represented Fiji during that series where they beat Scotland and Italy here. And we stressed to them, what we told them is, guys, get an education, get your qualifications in rugby, because we want to come and use you back here. Being part of our high performance team, being part of our elite pathway program, being part of our development office. So we will take up administrative posts within Fiji Rugby, because when you talk on the same frequency, when you speak the same language, life becomes a lot easier. Yes, Senerusi. Senerusi is again another hard-nosed coach, strict disciplinary. Those that have come under his wing, especially those that played for the Nru and the Latui, know that he's a no-nonsense coach, and he performs well in that responsibility. Yes, ideally, come after 2023, who knows? Only God knows the future.
That's right.
If we're still around then.
But that's the plan.
But that's the intention. That's the vision with the current board. If we're still around come 2023 or after 2023, hopefully we'll have a few locals.
So you're having Kohli as well and Keralewere and a few of those who are now involved.
Exactly. When we came into the board, these guys were nowhere to be seen. So they're now holding key positions within Fiji Rugby Union.
Francis Kean, thank you for joining.
Thank you, Stan. How are you?
FRU Chairman Francis Kean. That was the show for the evening. Join us again next Thursday at the same time.
This program was brought to you by Colgate. Brush twice a day for strong, healthy teeth.
I'm gonna meet Dad.
Continue to watch movies on the big screen with Colgate Monday Movies. Simply buy one movie ticket and present it together with one empty pack of any Colgate Total toothpaste or a Colgate 360 toothbrush and get another movie ticket free. Now showing in Damodar cinemas near you. Promotion begins 15th January and ends 15th November. Conditions apply. Check in-store posters for more details.